What is going on, buddy?
Hello.
It is Pixel Partners here, and welcome to the Zero Escape 999 character tier list.
Blah, blah, blah.
That's right. I know anyone in the comments that's watched the channel for a while, their first question's probably like, where in the fucking spirit of justice?
Where's the spirit of justice?
That's not what we're answering today. I know I'm way fucking late on that one. We're way fucking late on that one.
Yeah.
But that's not the question right now. The question right now is,
The current hyperfixation.
where did these 9 people that had 9 hours to go through 9 doors lay on a stack of 7 rankings for them?
So close.
That's what we're here to find out today as we go on a journey through these to discuss about these characters, about what we think about them, their place in the game, how their characters evolved and whatnot.
How they're written.
And then get ready for the audience to wholeheartedly disagree with everything that we say at some point. But that's the fun part.
Keep in mind, guys, we only know as much as what 999 has given us.
That is true.
We don't know
for
anything else.
Anything that other characters have any kind of other things happen in other games. That'll be for another tier list at some other point.
Yeah.
But for here, this is in the universe of 999.
We have
from
relatively
beginning to
little
end.
information to go off of.
Well, no, for a lot of these people, it's perfectly fine enough as it is. But let's go ahead and get this list going. And I'm going to do this in a weird way, but it's for the fact of making sure that we keep the conversation engaged later on.
A weird
And we're going to go from the bottom up, because there's no way I'm finishing on the 9th man, because we have the 9th man over here.
Yeah.
I can't remember which of the people it was again at the end. By the way, spoilers for 999 if you're watching this and for some reason haven't watched or played 999 for yourself. Obviously, we're going to be talking spoilers on this.
Yeah, so don't watch this yet.
But the 9th man, can't remember what his full name is, which one. The only name that stuck with me is Nijisaki, but that's the one that was switched out with
I think it was
Snake.
Kodaka. Wasn't that one of the names?
No, that's the writer of Danganronpa.
Kodaka?
Yeah. That's not one of the characters here. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong. But
What?
I mean, if you want to try and your phone's charging right now.
We probably should have looked this up beforehand.
I mean, in my opinion, I'll go ahead and look up the 9th man while you discuss this with the people. But I feel that he should go in F because we got to know nothing about him aside from the end and how he played it. I'll go into it more, but
when he was around, he sucked.
Kubota.
Kubota.
Is what you thought of.
What did I say?
Kodaka.
Oh. Huh.
Little off on that one there, but yeah.
My brain thought of something that started with a K, ended with an A, and was 3 syllables.
But obviously, even though he played kind of a big part in the original Nonary game of sorts, in the game, it took him an hour to get absolutely bodied, to be honest here.
Not even.
And yeah, not even. It's in there about the hour length. But yeah, it's just, I mean, I feel like there could have been better ways to do it, but I get that it very quickly set the tone of how serious that this Nonary game was, which was part of Ace's. Let's see what this is, and then kaboom, and they all suddenly just and then it's like, oh shit, whoops. But other than that, it's very minor backstory that you get, just realizing that
that he was just a bad person.
Yeah, and I'm trying to remember, because the other guy that was found as the captain was, I believe he was the one that did the funding for it. I can't remember what he was.
I think he was one of the researchers.
He might have been one. He looks like a researcher, but anyways, there's just not a lot.
See, that just goes to show how much if we can't even remember what he did.
Yeah, I'm sure as we keep going along in the game, maybe he'll get brought up again, but I don't fucking know. But there just wasn't much of him in the game to truly give him a ranking on here. So he's just kind of got to go in. If he was used for the purpose of showing, hey, you're going to die possibly. And that was pretty much the most usage of him as a character in the game. Yeah. And then a backstory tie with you still not really getting to know much about him in the first place. But we then move on to the 8 people that are important to the game. I mean, what? We have Lotus. Miss 8.
Lotus!
Huh.
I remember how suspicious of her we were at first.
We were very suspicious.
We did not like her at all.
No, she was acting very strangely, but then you have to think about the fact that, I mean, if you just kind of find yourself in this kind of situation out of nowhere, and as you find out later on, she's the person that knows pretty much the least of anything that's going on in this entire thing.
Yeah.
Like, she's in self-preservation mode to a T beyond anyone. Like, that's just...
Like, even the freezer was too cold for her. She's like, nope.
Very true. But I feel like she had a fair amount of character evolution.
Oh, she
and
did,
went
yeah.
beyond just the fan service bit that she was
Yeah.
very predominant in the game for. Like, you can't even hide it. It was
That
there
outfit.
a lot. You know, the computer scene, the stairs.
Like, she's a freaking hacker. Like,
Oh, she's a badass hacker.
mm-hmm.
Had kids that were involved in the OG game. I would say that she, in my opinion, was a solid B. I don't know what you were thinking, but I think B is about where.
I mean, I would say
she
A,
would
but I'm
go.
also biased because I voiced her.
I know you want to say A, but there are
too many
You'll
characters
then realize where people start you're like, oh, I'm doing A, and then you'll be like, oh, but that put this person at the same level. Because we have someone like 7, a man behind my own heart, who plays.
You mean after your own heart?
After my own heart.
Behind?
I listen. I don't words good, okay?
Yeah.
But 7
I didn't
starts
like
off,
him at first.
He starts off as a very strange, gruff idiot.
Yeah.
But then as it goes on and based off of which path, I mean, the way that you see him as a person can depend on which paths that you pick in the game, realistically.
That is
true. The same goes for Clover, who we'll be talking about later.
Oh, yeah,
but,
Clover.
7 quickly goes from this guy that seems like, the typical no brains, badass,
just like
a troll walking
all
around
bronze,
the ship.
No brain type thing.
But then how heavily involved he was in everything beforehand.
Yeah, and he's
being
not
on the ship
dumb.
as a detective, saving the kids. No. If anything, most of it probably came down to the fact of the amnesia he was suffering from that cost him all of his memories aboard here. But I would think between that and the various character interactions that he has, and adding in the fact that a lot of the game gets pushed forward by the fact of him
remembering
being
things
in there, I'd say he deserves to be an A. This could be me going a bit too heavy on it because I've always known what you said, but I think that
I think
A
so.
is fair enough. Not to say you're not as important, Clover, but you're not.
You mean Lotus?
Or Lotus. I fucking did it again. Even after beating the game, I did it again.
Even if you do it in the game and now in a tier list.
Oh my god.
How? How do you? How?
I'm so fucking good at what I do.
I hate you.
I understand. I can agree wholeheartedly. Anyways.
She's staring at you right now.
We'll move on to number 6.
I know my color is green, but come on.
Number 6. June. Akane.
AKA Akane.
AKA 0.
Yeah.
Now, there's a lot I could say about this, but I'm trying to save this because we might do a talking video at some point, or we can use this as a small bit to talk about. Actually, no, fucking. Do I save that for afterwards, or do that right now? You know what? Just for the fact of talking about the ending of the game, we'll save that. We'll save June for last, okay?
We'll save June for last.
Save the most important for last.
Okay.
So we will go to number 5 right now. Junpei.
AKA Jumpy.
In my opinion, easy S in my opinion.
Yeah.
Not just like, main character, her. At first, I was unsure of what to think.
Same.
But Junpei is one of my favorite protagonists and player characters that I've played from a game in quite a while.
You also connected with him a lot.
That is true, but
say it again. Remember?
Yeah. Can you say that again? Please slower.
It's really hard.
But and also just the fact of how his character evolved over time and how the dimensions grew as he went through this game and more of his shades started to show.
Yeah, like he had some moments.
No, he wasn't just the same character from day one to day to. You know, he evolved as the game went forward. I would say that he had reactions that made sense to the situations at hand. And I would say that, honestly, for a lot of the game, for most of the characters, like, writing for various situations made sense.
Yeah.
For the characters and the situations they were in, and for everything that he puts forward, I would say that he is a fairly good protagonist.
Like he had moments where I was shook at
exactly.
how he was
I am so glad he wasn't the one-dimensional idiot character
that he at first seemed to be.
But at the same point, while he has that side of him, it makes sense for him to have that kind of hidden, smart, almost at times conniving side, like when it came to the papers, because, I mean, realistically, he's the one solving all these fucking puzzles the entire way along when you think about it. I have to do everything. So, of course, he's going to be smart by the end of the day. But solid S for him.
He has so much depth.
He does. And I'm happy when games have a character that gains depth as it goes along. Not just, hey, this character, we're going to write him in. This is how he is. This is what you expect from him the whole time along. Give them a little bit of depth.
Like, that's how you know if a character surprises you at any point, that's how you know they're well written.
Exactly. So let's move on now.
Speaking of surprises.
To number 4. Clover.
Clover.
You know, at first, I mean,
one of my favorite voices to do.
We didn't know what to think about Clover. Because it also because of the path of what order we did things in, we just didn't see her at all for the first half of the game.
We did not.
We didn't get to see her as at all, aside from dying.
Yeah.
But as we got into the second half of the game, we got into the paths that really focus on Clover. And
she's been through a lot.
She's been through a lot. Solid writing for her. And I think that
she had a little bit of development.
A little bit. And I'll also say...
Also depending on which route.
Hey, strictly because of that ending, which... Of all the ones that aren't of the big impact of the game, like obviously there's the safe ending that is a big one that you need to then get the true ending. The axe ending is my fucking favorite. As one of the short ones, I loved it.
Yeah.
And that's not what I wanted to. Oh, let me undo that. That's not. That was the wrong thing. There we go. Don't mind that.
You were breaking everything.
I feel like she solidly sits in A.
Yeah.
I wouldn't quite say S. Me putting her in S would be too much of just my personal enjoyment of her as a character.
Yeah.
But I mean, if that was the case, I'd put fucking most of everyone in S tier just because I enjoyed the game.
Same.
But it's a fair balance of, you know, there's a heavy weight of how we feel on the characters, but we add in the fact of how they're written, their involvement in the game, their impact on the overall story. So I can't just put everyone in S. Can't just do it. Gotta think critically
here.
They
can banter in A. It's perfect.
Exactly, because those two, we need to separate them. Who better separate them than number 3, Santa? But you're not gonna let me use Santa to separate them.
Nope.
Because I already know what you're just say it.
S tier.
S for Santa.
Yes.
And
I think he deserves it, bias aside.
I know. For me, it's kind of I'm somewhere in between, but a good written character from beginning to end, has the layers that come out slowly, which
we definitely got with him.
Yeah, that's yeah. And my brain froze for a second and emptied itself out. It rebooted. The recycling bin has been closed. I need to reopen whatever file I had for Santa. Okay. I'm almost there. Fill in the space. You're the Santa simp. Fill in for me. Maybe simp, actually. To be determined simp. Fill in the gaps with your own opinions.
I figured it out the other day. I am.
I'm proud of you for coming to the realization. Welcome to Simps Anonymous.
Hi, my name is Allie.
It's been 26 days since I first denied that I simped for Santa. Hello.
It always starts with a denial, and you guys are always right. You fucking called it, and I hate it.
Simping aside, S
Yeah.
for simp. But no, the evolution of him as the game went on.
His voice was fun to do.
And
too.
then, as you get closer to the end, you have these realizations and these moments where it's like, when you do the math for various situations, it's like, is he a good guy? Is there something behind him?
Yeah.
And then things evolve more and more as you get towards that true end, and then the whole incident with the gun, you're like, holy fucking shit.
You're like,
and then
wait,
it's like,
is he
like,
bad?
oh my god, he has to be Zero.
Yeah.
And then you get fucking debated. But it turns out with
he's like,
him
nope.
and, you know, being more of like the sidekick to Zero in a
I
way.
think secretary is the word he used.
I can't remember what the exact word was.
I know he said like assistant.
Yeah, but he was integral to Zero/Akane. We'll talk about all that shit later.
Yep.
But for how much of a force that he was in the game driving forward, personal enjoyment of the character, well written,
I love his
and
design.
everything involved. S tier is safe for that.
Yes.
Number two.
Look,
Snake.
they're looking at each other in a
Snake, another character that we didn't get a whole
didn't like
lot
him
of
at first.
I remember at first you were like, I just don't think much about him. And then, you know, in most situations,
I was so indifferent.
I mean, he was a hard character to read because of the fact that he also gets bodied pretty early on, supposedly bodied.
Yeah.
But surprise, he's not. He's a badass.
He is.
He reads a lot of books in Braille, I'll assume.
Yeah.
Because
well, he also said he would read them when he was a kid before he was blind.
yeah, he spent a lot of time early on researching, but still, I mean, he was the oldest of the bunch when he was involved in the original Nonary game, but he became a big point for understanding the original one and all of that. I say that he belongs safely in A tier.
Oh yeah,
And
right with his sister.
He can do his best to keep Clover at bay, to not absolutely murder at least Seven's feelings, because Clover knows how to get under his skin.
Yeah. But dude, in the incinerator with Ace, like, oh my god.
That was a badass scene. Would not be stopped.
Honestly, for that,
Absolute machine.
I think he deserves to go a little bit up. Because we do that. We do that in our tier list.
I usually do that when there's space.
When there's space.
But
yeah, that is true. There's only 9 characters.
well, no, that's not the point. I would slide him up if there wasn't going to be anyone above his head. But in my opinion...
Oh boy, here we go. You don't want to talk about Snake anymore?
Well, I mean, I feel like we went over Snake pretty well for what he has in there. You know, I wouldn't say there's quite enough to push him in S tier yet. He's borderline a strong
S tier.
Character. Yes.
Because of that one ending. Like, oh my god.
No, like if there was a little bit more, he would go in.
And he has
S.
a good sense of humor. Like, we learned so much about him.
Oh, absolutely. But
I think there were multiple times where like, I love him.
Number one. Yes, number one. Numero uno. Ace.
Yep.
Mr. Hungo. Pleasantly surprised. I mean, early on, he seemed pretty simple of a character to me.
Uh-huh.
Just kind of like...
He was just kind of there.
He just kind of seemed like, for a little bit, kind of like a voice of reason of sorts. Like a pillar that stood there is like, all right, everybody calm down. Let's focus on what we're doing. He seemed pretty simple at first.
Yeah.
But then the dominoes start to fall. The Jenga pieces start to slowly make that tower wobble a little bit until everything comes collapsing around him.
Then he was evil as fucked up.
I could be biased because I had maybe concerningly too much fun in the safe ending with Ace. I might have scared myself a little bit at times, but
you scared me.
I felt like he was a pretty well balanced antagonist of this game, kind of undermining the fact that Zero isn't the antagonist and you have this force along with you that is kind of the true antagonist of the game.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll let you. I want to hear out your opinion if you think he belongs in S or not, because there are a couple things that, like, you know, if it wasn't for the fact that he was the antagonist and had his moments at the end, would he still go up there? But you could add that for numerous characters in their rankings. If you take out one piece of them, does their puzzle piece still match where they are? But he felt like a perfect foil for everyone when you consider the fact that once you get to the end, or when you think of the beginning endings, of like how in the submarine ending, that was Ace.
Yeah.
When you go to the, oh my god, what was the other one? That was the second one that we got, where Lotus was killed and then we got
knife
stabbed in the
ending?
back. The knife ending. That was Ace. Like, I feel like by sheer force of antagonistic power and how well of antagonistic power that he was.
Yeah. Like, he
that
was...
I think he pretty solidly put his spot in S tier. I will say one thing that kind of brings him down a little bit for me when we talk about the ending of the game is, like, you think about everything of him being part of creating this Nonary game. He's the whole reason that this all
for
exists.
himself.
The part that I don't like is that at the end, if it was his real excuse that he wanted to use and tap into the morphogenetic field so that he could use that to see people's faces, in my opinion, is one of the worst reasons for a bad guy being a bad guy I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest, I heard that and I was like, Chief, you're joking me, right?
I think
that hurt me as in all honesty, for all sensibilities of how people act. All of what he did for research into hoping to see people's faces did not at all, like, the risk reward scale.
I wonder,
any sensibility scale does not match for me.
I wonder if that was supposed to be for the sake of sympathy.
I think that was the point, is
because, like, wanted, you know, a tragic villain type thing. Yeah,
because I mean, it's kind of like in the school of how George R.R. Martin writes villains, is that the simple sentence is the villains are the heroes of their own story. You know, they don't think they're being a bad guy, and there's the point of trying to get sympathy for a character. So the thing that made the most sense is I wanted to see people's faces again.
Yeah. Did
not have the same weight for me.
Well, not again. He never was able to. That's even more of a thing. I
know that was kind of there to try and get the sympathy
I don't even know how that would even work. Like, to see people's faces through someone else's eyes or something?
I mean, maybe the point is that, as we can tell from the end, the morphogenetic field, when you connect into much, you can see what the other person sees, and you can see their faces. But then he learns that it's still a disability, and he's seeing someone else's vision, but he can't recognize their faces because it's deep down in his brain that can't because technically it's his brain where it's like he can see, like, you can visually see someone's face, but your brain just can't put that
process together. Yeah.
That's the part that hurts me when it comes to that final little piece of
that was
trying to
his
give him that sympathy that doesn't make any fucking sense,
and not some, like, grand scheme.
But if we just throw an eraser over that part, he can just go. He can still fit in S tier. These two can just kind of hug it out a little bit.
No, don't. No.
It's just
a
like
hug with a gun.
It's just. Listen, it's just like the safe ending. Those two, they're coming after each other slowly, meeting somewhere in the middle. Right there, like that. Before death arrives on their doorstep.
God.
But now we have...
Look at Santa. He's looking at Jupiter like, you see this shit?
It's like, oh, yeah.
You see where this fucker is?
They're about to fucking go at it, dude. But we now have the last character coming back for them. Number 6, June, Akane.
Also 0. Which also makes sense because 0.
Canny.
You kick. She's a sweetheart.
Absolutely. I think I'll just go ahead and throw her in S because she is also, while Ace is the force of the original Nonary game, Akane is the force of this game being 0.
Yeah.
And there's I mean, we can just talk about in the game of the character that she was, that sweetheart to Junpei the entire time.
The romantic interest.
And all of that. But the ending of this game and everything, I know that we didn't have as strong as of a reaction to the whole Akane vision and novel mode thing because we didn't play in novel mode through this game, so it didn't have the same impact on us that those were the same thing all along that novel mode was through Akane's eyes.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I have no problem with that. I still thought it was cool when that all was revealed.
It was definitely a shocker.
Because I was just like, was it her the entire time? Was it us the entire time? But we then have the end. The bit confusing
you okay
at end
there?
times.
You were like buffering.
I mean, I'll always be buffering until we get more of this game to go through.
Again, we've only played the first.
Because we've had a couple days, read some comments, had our own thoughts, and I mean, there's been like the explanation behind the fever that I can kind of get, and the way that I thought about it before I even read comments, where after the game I was thinking about my own at work before the video was ever released of the finale, that to me, the situation with Akane, I don't know exactly how it played out 9 years ago. I just consider her to be a bit of a paradox of sorts. Because
she is interesting.
To go personally, when this game entered time territory, that gets fragile
I already
when you go
know
to
how
me.
you feel about, like,
because I've talked about it many times as someone that writes. Time is a sensitive thing for me when you fuck with it in game, especially when you're fucking with time, because I have an opinion on time.
You do.
On time travel specifically.
Yep.
Because there's, you know, the trope of I'm gonna go to the past and change the past, but that is not possible, because if you went into the past,
look
then
on your face
technically
right now.
you
so
already lived that past.
You're so passionate about this.
All you did by going in the past is you enacted the events that did happen in the past.
There's so many hand motions right now. I wish the people could see it.
I've made my point on how I feel about the past, so let me focus on how this game touches on.
You look like someone doing a speech right now.
Welcome to my TED Talk, motherfuckers.
It really is.
But that was my simple point, is that if you went into the past, you would already be feeling that effect, because technically you're in the same timeline, already happened. Which is something that I thought was potentially similarly going to happen here, of like, that's the explanation of why Akane is here, because you're kind of in a timeline where that worked. But then you have the whole thing with 7 where it's like, nah, she fucking died, pal. I saw it. And you've got Santa under the same thing. It was always going to be complicated.
Yeah.
But I always thought that, in my opinion, you know, 9 years ago, no matter what, the thing kind of happened, at least in one circumstance or another. I was hoping that they would use the rivers to kind of like, quote unquote, branch the timelines. But maybe these rivers are kind of connecting together and getting a little funky, which is why, to me, Akane herself was the paradox, kind of living in this limbo of like, okay, this thing happened that saved my life, but that thing is not going to happen until 9 years from now. So I need to ensure that that happens. Otherwise, if it doesn't, I might die. And so to me, Akane's illness was this paradox of the fact that...
Oh, the fever?
Yeah, that in a way she's kind of alive and dead at the same time. And it comes down to the fact of needing these events to take place to kind of solidify...
The fact that she's alive.
Her future.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's where it makes sense of, you know, why she felt the strong need to, you know, do this whole game over again in its own circumstance to make sure that this situation happens where Junpei can connect in that morphogenetic field into the past, which was never talked about in the science classes. Time travel was never a part of that until that time.
Yeah.
But that was my thought on the end, is that, like, because the point of just saying, oh, the whole point is that she was alive and dead at the same time, doesn't make fucking sense. It doesn't. She's one or the other. Okay? She's fucking Schrodinger's Akane, okay? She's alive and dead at the same time. Or actually, she's neither until you open the box, which was kind of this game. Actually, you know, that's a great way to put it.
I almost said that.
You got
I should have.
Schrodinger's Akane, okay? Alive and dead at the same time. You just don't know fucking where. She's in this weird fucking limbo, just sitting in purgatory.
I was gonna say, you keep saying things that I'm about to say, so I literally have nothing to say.
This ship was no longer the gigantic, okay? This should have been building P for building purgatory, okay? That's all she was in the situation until we opened the box. And she was alive. Because we solidified what needed to happen.
Yeah. Your hands are going everywhere.
I'm passionate about time travel.
You really are. It's funny. It's really
Don't
funny.
fuck with me on time travel.
Because one of your favorite movies is Back to the Future.
Exactly. I bet if I watch that again, now I'm going to be like, that's not how it works, Marty McFly. You're fucking with shit.
You're going to criticize your own favorite movie. It's not going to be your favorite.
It's not my favorite movie.
I said one of your favorite movies.
Yeah. When I have very fond memories of part 2 specifically as a kid.
You're going to disown it as one of your favorite movies if you watch it again.
I better not go watch that shit
Maybe
again.
you shouldn't watch it.
No, I shouldn't watch it. I should be careful.
You'd be like,
with
this
that.
is so fucked. No,
This
it's
is so
wrong.
inaccurate.
No, that's wrong.
But Akane, S tier, because just the fact of the power
Yeah.
that she holds.
Plus,
I imagine there's going to be more.
She's so sweet.
Exactly, she is sweet. Doesn't matter that she kind of did a whole lot of funky shit to make sure that this happened.
Along with her brother.
Along with her brother, which also comes down to a thing of like, he knew that she was dead, but also this entire time knew he had to keep her alive.
Yeah.
It's this weird limbo that he was a part of as well. Maybe that'll all get explained in another one.
I hope.
You know, like I was going to say before I got distracted, I should have realized I was in for something dangerous when one of the games is called Zero Time Dilemma. That time may be fucking with me.
So that's what ZTD stands for.
Yes.
Okay.
But
I wasn't sure.
But that's going to be the third game. But
What's the
I've
second
gotten to
one?
Virtue's Last Reward, I think is what it's called.
Okay.
I think so. That's the one we're going to be playing next when we play the next game. But
like, I've seen the abbreviations of the next two games. I just didn't know what they were.
yeah. But I've reached a point to where in my own head for now, until Akane proves me wrong in some fashion, of what makes me feel the best about what happened when it comes time-wise for Akane. I'm just going to call my interpretation of events the Akane paradox. That's what I came up with when I was at work, of just the fact that, because technically she is a paradox.
She is, yeah.
Throughout the entire game, she is a walking paradox of dead and alive at the same time.
Yeah.
Because technically, if it was like the same timeline, she should be dead. Yet she is alive in this world. She is a paradox.
Yeah, because like Seven remembers seeing her, dead.
Yeah, my bit of events, what exactly brought her in, I don't fucking know. That's the great question of what brought her into this timeline. Like I said, it could be the interweaving of the rivers that she talked about in her little monologue in novel mode when that small revelation happened first.
I wonder if Santa remembers seeing her dead too.
It's a question of, I guess...
Because we don't know a lot about what his point of view on that whole
welcome to discussing the ending portion of this tier list.
Because he just kind of dipped.
Because you'd think
at
that
the end,
technically everyone...
talk to him
you
about
think
it.
that technically everyone else would be, you know, from the same timeline where she was dead. But I suppose Akane could have come over at any time and seeing as how they're brother and sister, he would recognize and be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And be like, listen, I know it's hard to explain, but we need to do a thing 9 years from now.
Yeah, because when she said that she lived, Santa was just, you know, he wasn't shocked. He was just happy. But the others were, it seemed that it was Snake and Seven. She said that they seemed like shocked that she was there.
Yeah.
But Santa didn't for some reason.
Maybe. And I mean,
maybe it's because the whole morphogenetic field. Maybe that's how he knew.
Perhaps.
Like with the whole snake in the coffin thing.
Yes. But I mean, that was part of the plan anyways.
Yeah, but him.
But there'll just be a couple more things.
Because he was telling Junpei, "Oh, how did you know the code to open the coffin?" Blah blah blah.
A couple things that will maybe play part more so in the future games. Couple small ones, and then maybe one ridiculous one that I thought of that could be entirely wrong. But so
theories.
Yeah, but small thing for this one. Because at the end of the game, the final scene is Alice, I guess you can say.
That's right.
Hitchhiking there. Let's not try and figure out why an apparent mummy come back to life knows the hitchhiking pose.
Yeah.
I'll just leave that be as it is. But there was, before that, you know, I'm always one of those where I'm a firm belief that when you put in details that seem quote unquote random, they're never random.
Yeah.
And this game had a lot of science in it with...
It really did, yeah.
with some interpretations changed on it to kind of fit the world that the game wants to go for because it was doing world building.
Yeah.
You know, it was trying to set forth the premise essentially of what is known in this world as scientific theory to kind of build the basis of what they would be using for the mysteries of the story in this game. I know that when we're going to play this game, a lot of people are like, oh my god, they hated the science talks with Tokiko and Nirvana Initiative. They're going to hate this game. I didn't hate the science talks with...
Me neither.
With them. I think the problem that came with the Nirvana Initiative part was the fact that it didn't pace it out like this game did. It gives you everything...
It was all at once.
All at once. Just pound it all into your brain in a singular moment. You need this right now.
Does that hurt your hand?
Not at all.
Oh.
But this game, you know, it slowly paced it to where you would have
plus
puzzle, story, and then science talk.
Tokiko, bless her heart, she
I'm trying to have this be a Nirvana Initiative talk.
No, I'm
so
saying
keep it
she
fast.
was a very monotone voice too.
I didn't care. She's hot.
What?
Anyways, the point behind that is that there were some science talks
Yes.
that, when you think about it, did not have an impact on this game yet. Because there was all the talk of Ice 9 and the Mummy that did not play... Ice 9 did not play a part in anything that happened in this shit.
At first, when we first encountered that whole discussion, was just a fun fact. You know?
Yeah, but like I said, when it comes to writing... It's never just a random fun fact. It's going to play a part.
I just want to talk about ice for a second while we're in here.
So...
While we're becoming
I
ice.
think it played a fact in behind finding Alice at the end there.
It's really... Junpei was locked in the freezer with the siblings.
It was real. Yeah. But it was real. And then Alice was a thing.
Yeah.
Now, there's a whole lot to ask about why Alice was kind of unleashed. Because
wasn't it like, what was the thing with Ice 9 about being in the desert?
is
and
that
it doesn't melt?
It doesn't melt. Its melting point is like 96 degrees.
Yeah.
So it would take a lot for Ice 9 to melt, which would keep a body frozen and preserved for however long it for a long fucking time.
Yeah, and how hot is it in the Nevada desert?
They get pretty hot. Anyways, the point was that I think more of that will play into the second game because, let's be honest here, when you play the Nonary Games Edition, there's a splash screen that shows all the characters for the second game when you pick between the first and the second.
Yeah.
So you kind of can see a thing. But anyways.
Yeah, there's a thing you can see there, and I was like,
that's about next time.
Is that somebody?
But yes, the science facts will probably play in the fact of why Alice exists and then be heavier-handed walking into the second game. But now I have one final theory. I want to throw out there is a wild one. I want to throw it all out there, okay?
Even the ones that don't make sense.
Even that don't make sense, and I can't wait for them to be proven wrong. But I love my wild theories just in fucking case.
Because there have been some instances where you make a crazy theory.
Because
and it turns out ironically correct.
I can't guarantee anything. You know, there is a second and third game, and obviously there's going to be some sort of connection between them.
Yeah, and there's still so much we don't know.
But for this game, obviously you have June, who had this whole paradoxical existence to try and exist again.
Yes.
Because I remember there were some funny things happening at the end. Specifically, when we were at the computer with Lotus fighting over it, back and forth bickering at the very end when we were doing the final puzzle of sorts. There was an interesting thing happening.
When Clover was in the lab or whatever.
No, this is at the very end. We were all in the incinerator, the computer that pops up.
Yeah,
Lotus is beside us. We're fighting over the computer like, let me do the fucking thing.
That's right.
Meanwhile, you have Santa, Seven, Clover, and Snake. All together, standing at the incinerator door. And when we were doing the puzzle, the game made the point of saying, like, it was either like 2 or 3 times that Junpei would turn over there and you'd see the 4 of them talking about something, talking quietly amongst themselves about something.
Yeah.
I think that all 4 of them were involved in helping June. Because if you think about it, Clover was in the other building involved in the game, but 3 of the people that would have come across June in either the dead or alive fashion was Seven and Santa and Snake.
Yeah.
All 3 of them walked into the incinerator and found June either dead or alive. Clover was in another building, but was still involved in that Nonary game, directly adjacent to Snake.
Yeah.
I think that all of them talking at the end was essentially about the fact of like, holy shit, this whole fucking thing worked. It all worked.
And then you got Lotus, who's just confused.
Yes, I feel bad because it does seem like she, of all people,
poor Lotus,
was the most out of the loop of anything happening. But
yeah.
I think my
also,
big
who were
theory,
her kids? That's what I want to know.
We never really got to know much. Obviously, at least one of them was involved in the game. I can't remember if all 3 of them were. That interaction happened so long ago to us.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my wild theory that maybe more truths that will pop up in other games. But I think that the 4 original Nonary game, that gang, I think that they were all involved in putting this new one.
Well, we know Santa
together.
was.
We know Santa was, but I think that like
the other 3
were also in a group, congruently working together. And I guess
that means they all did a lot of acting, though.
Yeah, but technically, like if you think about it, Seven would of course get behind it because his goal was trying to
save everyone
save
in the
everyone.
first place.
And he also fucking loathed Ace.
Yeah.
And so did Ace and Clover, probably wanting
Ace
their
and Clover?
revenge. Or
Snake and Clover?
Wanting, revenge for what happened forever ago. Obviously, there could be a few holes in that because of the fact of you would think that Clover would know that the fake snake death was meant to happen. You think that'd be communicated at some point. But then again, maybe as kind of a safeguard, June didn't want to tell the entire plan to everyone, only the person she trusted most, which would have been Santa.
Oh yeah, there was that whole thing of don't talk about the previous game. Remember?
I didn't even think about that before, the fact that was handed down to...
Zero told Snake not to talk about it.
I never thought we're going long on this as I think about that single moment of like, why would June... Oh, so that the reason behind that is don't say it at any point because that could get around and that would reveal to Ace that Snake was in the original game way too early for the plan to work. Because that could have put Snake in immediate danger from Ace.
Maybe.
But he said there are probably holes in my theory, but that's going to be my thing. That's why I was written there of them talking amongst each other, is that I bet all four of those fuckers, I bet all four of them were working together the entire time.
Not just Santa?
Not just Santa. To make this right. I'm trying to remember everyone's reactions at the end when they walked out and it turned out they were in building Q the entire time.
We didn't get to see Santa's reaction.
No, because he drove off already. Which, by the way...
With June.
Which, by the way, didn't seem to surprise Seven. He was like, tire tracks, they've gone that way. I know they have. How would you know that there was them together?
Yeah, they just...
So...
Akane and, Aoi, it's his real name, they just left.
They just left. Now, why exactly they just left? That's a great fucking question, too.
Like, why'd they just leave?
Maybe there's more to this paradox. I don't fucking know. Maybe they left because they have to ensure after this that Akane and Junpei never see each other again, because that might cause more problems with this paradox that is her existence, and poof, she'll turn into dust.
That
like
would
Thanos snap.
That would suck.
But yes, that is my theory as we go forward, that the four of those fuckers working together the entire time.
Yeah.
And I think that's about all I got.
I personally think Snake should be above Ace, but that's just me.
In all honesty, I think that they kind of fit in that parallel of the Saw world.
The Saw world?
Exactly.
Snake and Ace!
Exactly. They both kind of fit in that in-between limbo purgatory area. No offense, Akane, that you live your existence in purgatory. But I think that as we end this, I'll stop the fucking rambling of talking about the end of the game. I'm pretty happy with this list as it is. Obviously,
You're
only 9
putting
characters.
Ace in between the siblings. You need to fix that. You're driving them apart once again.
There's a lot I'd have to fix in this moment.
Okay.
I'd have to move Clover around too and put the other two fuckers to the left. They'll find their way together, okay? Okay. The siblings that matter are Clover and Snake being together, okay?
Excuse me.
Well, those other two fucking ran away.
Yeah, but I mean in this picture right here, right now.
All right, before we get on lost rambling, hopefully you all enjoyed this tier. I bet you all surprised to see a tier list with 9 characters and it's 50 minutes fucking long. Yeah. Enjoy that treat.
What? Wait, you know my favorite character. Who's your favorite character? Is it Junpei? I'm curious.
See, for me, you know this fact of me, but it's always been difficult of me to pick anything as a singular favorite.
Yeah.
Because I always have like the tiers in my head of like,
I mean, same.
Oh, there's this,
but
and
if
that.
I had to pick a favorite, it would be Santa.
I guess it would have to be Junpei.
Yeah.
But Seven and Clover are close behind in my personal favorite list for me. The two of them sit there beside. Clover, for her character simply as is. I think for Seven, it's just the fact of it's this all day, every day, pal. It's just this. I mean, he's still a greatly done character, and I had just a lot of fun anytime it was Seven on screen.
My
but
second
I think
favorite is
Junpei has to be
probably
in there,
tied with Junpei and Snake for me.
Good.
But I do really like Lotus. But again, I can't tell if I'm being biased or not.
We are rambling all over the place. I do apologize,
Least
everyone.
favorite, Ace. Fuck you.
No, I can't say that because I do. I
obviously
appreciate good
not
bad
counting
guys.
Ninth Man there. I mean, of the
Yeah.
people that were around the most.
God, I don't know if I could pick on that one, but I'm not going to. We're gonna go ahead and end this here. Thank you all for watching the 999 tier list. Excuse me.
He's only.
I apologize.
Just so you know, guys, don't come after me. I know a lot of people like Ace. I hate him just because he was killing. He was an asshole. Okay.
Oh, exactly. It's fitting. He's a villain. See what he does, and he did it best. That's why he's such a good villain. That's why he's at the bottom of your list.
Yeah, exactly. He's the kind of person you love to hate.
I just love him. Anyways, thank you all for watching the 999 character tier list and also ending Jamboree discussion.
Yeah, it turned into kind of a podcast.
Hopefully you enjoyed. Let us know in the comments below how much you disagree with everything we put on this list.
Granted, it's really hard because, we have very limited information.
That is true. Also remember, I'm sure most of these characters won't come back again, but for those that do come back, we don't
know yet.
It's all based on this little bubble that we're in. But thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed our discussions and all. And we will see you all hopefully in the near future.
Also,
with the continuation.
If I could, I would put Lotus in A, but you won't allow that. So
a Lotus in A, really?
Yeah. There are puzzles we wouldn't have been able to do without her.
I know. Okay, we're gonna get too lost on this if we keep talking. we can discuss in the comments on our own how much we disagree with our own fucking tier list.
I just love them a lot. I love all of them a lot.
I love all. Like I said, if I could do it myself, everyone fucking end up in S tier. But that's gonna be a problem. We gotta put the reins in somewhere.
I know, but
and it's just the fact that she's a lost little lamb in this entire thing that puts her down there.
She is so confused.
So, thank you for watching. And we'll see you all next time.
Bye.
Goodbye, everybody.